In some shows, there's at least one character that really has it bad. Almost like no matter what happens, they always end up getting the short end of the stick. These are characters I feel bad for. I already made a video on these types of characters, but after watching a certain show, I got inspired to do a second part to this video. Starting off, we got Tigress from Kung Fu Panda. You know, when I saw the first movie when I was a wee little kid, I didn't like Tigress at all. I thought she was just a dickhead to Po and jealous that he became the Dragon Warrior and not her. But revisiting the movies, especially after watching the fourth movie, goddamn that movie was ass, I find myself having a lot of sympathy for her. She trained her whole life in hopes of being selected by Oogway as the coveted Dragon Warrior. And not only that, she wanted to make Shifu proud. You see, when we get a glimpse into Tigress' childhood, it seemed like no matter how hard she worked, Shifu was just never satisfied, as in his eyes, she could never live up to his previous student Tai Lung. So being selected as the Dragon Warrior was also part of her pride. And when the trials for the Dragon Warrior were finally happening, Oogway was about to point his finger at Tigress until Po came flying in on, what is that? And by the grace of the noodle gods themselves, lands in front of Oogway's finger, making him the proclaimed Dragon Warrior. Now, Tigress was pretty mad at this decision, and I don't blame her. Po was someone with no kung fu experience, no signs of potential, and just look at the man making the decision. He's old as dirt. I wouldn't be surprised if the old man had dementia. And of course afterwards, could Tigress have been nicer to Po when they were first living together? Yes. But could Oogway have chosen the person who actually knew kung fu? Also yes. And I love Po, love his story and everything that he represents in terms of believing in yourself and being able to accomplish anything you put your mind to. And I honestly wouldn't have even put Tigress on this list if it wasn't for what I saw in Kung Fu Panda 4. Aside from the movie being straight dog shit, it also just made me feel really bad for Tigress, because in this movie, Po has to give up his title as Dragon Warrior and must pass it down to another person using the same type of trial that the Furious 5 did. Which, the fact that Po has to give up his status as Dragon Warrior in the first place is already stupid. But even more stupid, none of the Furious 5 are even considered for the next Dragon Warrior. We just got a bunch of nobodies. Who? And then at the end of the movie, when Po chooses the Dragon Warrior again, he chooses someone he just met over Tigress. So Tigress got wronged not once, not twice, but 3 separate times. Next up, Lisa from Castlevania. Castlevania was set in the late 15th century, so technology and healthcare wasn't the most useful. Back then, they were relying on hopes and prayers to cure illness. Lisa saw this and dedicated a good portion of her life to study medicine. So dedicated to the point she was willing to enter entire vampire castles to gain more knowledge of medicine. In this castle, she meets Dracula and also learns about medicine from him. With this knowledge, she spends her life taking care of people, furthering her research to find more cures to more diseases. And in return for her charitable efforts in advancing humanity, she gets burned alive. She's a better person than me. I just know if this happened to me, I would have been begging for Dracula to take revenge. I don't care about these people's lives anymore. I tried to help you. You killed me. Plus, Dracula gave them a whole year to leave. They got what was coming to them.
That don't work. There's no way out of this one. You're done.
On a side note though, those Salem witch trials that happened in real life, messed up stuff. Moving on, we got a horror game character, Mono from Little Nightmares 2. Spoilers for the game if you care about that. We first play as Mono stuck in, well, I don't really know what the setting is called, but all you need to know is there's no sunshine or rainbows, and he's trying to escape. On his journey, he meets Six, a girl who was originally held captive. Mono frees Six, and they both try to escape the city together. Throughout the game, Six gets caught multiple times, forcing Mono to go out of his way to rescue her every time. So basically, she's a freeloader. Somebody's gotta say it. He had to go through a teacher with the Flight React's neck, a fat ass doctor, the thin man, but you know, it's all worth it in the end in the name of friendship, right guys? Then we get to the end of the game. Six is standing directly at the end of the bridge with the portal to leave. Mono, who's behind Six, with the bridge collapsing, jumps across and is caught by Six. You would think all she has to do is pull him up and they can both escape together and live happily ever after. But Six instead drops Mono. She had him in his hands and just let him go, dropping Mono in whatever this is, leaving him alone to suffer, eventually turning him into the Thin Man. Now, there's a lot of theories that go on about why Six did this, and some of these reasons sort of justify her, but I don't really care. All I know is that Mono saved Six from captivity, saved her multiple other times, and the one time Mono needs her, she lets him down. Mono deserved better, man. I don't care what the reason was. Now, the last character I'm going to talk about today is actually the main reason why I created this video. Someone with one of the most tragic stories I've ever seen. Jinx from Arcane. Arcane spoilers ahead, and with that warning, I'm going to talk about her story with the assumption y'all already know her story and have watched the show. If I were to explain literally every part of her story like you'd never seen the show, we'd be here all day. Powder was born and raised in the Undercity Zon. The people are oppressed and left in poverty while the other part of the city, Piltover, is flourishing and in prosperity. Her parents had died in a war between the Undercity and Piltover when she was a very little, but we see she still has other family like her sister Vi, her adoptive father Vander, and other friends like Milo, Clagger, and Echo. However, she was always closest with Vi. Vi, as the big sister, constantly supports her and just wants a better life for Powder. It really felt like the sisterly bond between the two couldn't be broken. Until Powder ends up, accidentally killing Vander, Milo, and Clagger in an attempt to help. Now, make no mistake, this was a certified dumbass move from Powder, but I can sympathize. She just wanted to feel useful to her family. Vi, understandably upset, punches Powder, does leave her, but was gonna come back for her after like a minute before being taken by enforcers. So no, she did not abandon her. I see a small minority of watchers saying Vi abandoned Powder. Like, did y'all watch the show with a blindfold on? But nonetheless, Powder doesn't know this and truly thinks Vi, her only source of support, abandoned her. This leads to her becoming desperate for any feeling of being wanted, which explains why she runs to Silco and Silco takes her in. Fast forward a time skip later, and Powder, now going by Jinx, is working for Silco, helping him bring Shimmer to the Undercity, and there's no getting around it. Has low-key gone crazy. It's clear she suffers from various mental health issues, schizophrenia, psychosis, and PTSD. She does reunite with Vi, that ended with even more misunderstandings between the two. She almost dies fighting Echo, and basically goes through what looks like hell itself to be revived on Shimmer. After being revived, Jinx holds a tea party with Silco and Vi, and ends up shooting Silco to death accidentally. After Silco's death, Jinx becomes directionless. Her adoptive father, who actually did love her, is gone, Vi's officially given up on her, and it just seems like she really has no one left. Until little Isha drops into her life. Get it? Dropped? Cause she literally fell on her? No? Y'all not feeling that one? Alright, we can move on, no big deal. Isha being in Jinx's life really helps her heal a bit. To Jinx, Isha reminds her of Powder and is like her own little sister. Jinx also finds out Vander's still alive, which helps fix her relationship with Vi. It really seemed like Jinx was on her way to redeeming herself. But then episode 6 came and Isha... Man, as soon as I saw those flashbacks and heard the music, I knew it was over. Why? So Jinx loses Isha and fails to save Vander again. As you can imagine, this basically sends Jinx to the lowest she's ever been. She was clearly suicidal and truly did feel like she was a Jinx who couldn't help but curse everyone she gets involved with. Her biological parents died, she accidentally kills 2 of her friends, accidentally kills 2 of her fathers, and now her own little sister also dies being with her. And as if her story couldn't get any sadder, episode 7 came. We see an alternate universe where Powder stays Powder, everyone that we like, except Vi, is alive, and the Undercity is flourishing. While the setting was happy, the dance scene was beautiful, it just made me think about what could have been, man. Cause as much as I love Vi, it's just a numbers game at that point, sacrifices must be made. Back in the original timeline, Echo manages to bring Jinx back, I don't know how, but hey, he did it. Helps Vi fight Mbessa and Warwick, and at the very end sacrifices herself for her sister Vi. When I first saw this, I didn't know if she was alive or not. I mean, I didn't see her explode with my own 2 eyes, so I went ahead and did my own extensive research on the Arcane subreddit. And reading what other people have to say, yeah, she's like 99% alive. When the bomb exploded, there's a pink flash, which is the flash that happens when Jinx uses super speed. The quote, taking a leap forward means leaving a few things behind. Taking the leap forward to heal means leaving behind people she knows. In the first episode, Powder sees an airship and said she's gonna ride on one of those things, and at the very end of the show, they show an airship flying, insinuating Jinx is on that plane. You see, it's all connected. When I found out though, I was glad. You best believe I turned that frown upside down. Because if she really died, I don't think I would have mentally recovered. Overall though, Jinx's story, tragic, a life where literally everything that could go wrong went wrong. Yeah, she did some terrible crimes, I'm not excusing them, but like, come on, it's Arcane, no one's innocent. And it's not just Jinx, I honestly feel bad for the entire trio of Vi, Jinx, and Vander. They all went through some shit. Anyways, that's the video. Hope y'all liked the video, check out my other ones. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.